America's favorite comfort food is turning into a casualty of collapse. Behind the bright menus and catchy slogans, balance sheets are bleeding red ink. In 2025, skyrocketing beef costs, labor inflation, and collapsing foot traffic are pushing even the biggest chains to the brink. QSR Magazine, Bloomberg, and Business Insider confirm what insiders already fear. The $1 burger era is over. Stay with me, because some of the names you'll hear today might not survive the next 12 months. And the last one, 38, is a giant no one thought could ever fall. Number 1. Burger King's crumbling throne. If there's one name that symbolized American fast food rebellion for decades, it's Burger King. But behind the golden crown, the empire is quietly collapsing. Once the proud rival to McDonald's, the king is now losing his crown, fast. According to QSR Magazine's November 2025 report, Burger King's same-store sales dropped by a staggering 9% year-over-year, one of the sharpest declines in the chain's modern history. And the timing couldn't be worse. Ingredient costs, especially beef, cheese, and cooking oil, have surged nearly 18%, while labor costs are up another 12%. The result? A profit margin meltdown that's forcing franchisees to abandon their stores rather than sink deeper into debt. Business Insider confirms the carnage. Nearly 400 Burger King locations closed in 2024, and insiders warn that number could double before the end of 2025 if corporate leadership fails to intervene. Franchise owners, required to install high-cost upgrades like double drive-thrus, digital menu boards, and self-serve soda stations, say the company's modernization plan is backfiring. One anonymous franchise operator told Nation's Restaurant News, "They demanding upgrades we can quickly afford while sales collapse. It's financial suicide." It's not just the costs. It's the brand confusion. Remember the green nightmare Whopper? Or the endless marketing stunts that went viral for the wrong reasons? These gimmicks eroded consumer trust instead of building loyalty. Meanwhile, competitors like Wendy's and Shake Shack have tightened their menus, modernized their digital presence, and drawn younger audiences with fresher, higher-quality options. Burger King is still trying to recapture the magic of the 1980s, while its customers have already moved on. Industry analysts predict the King could lose up to 25% of its U.S. footprint by 2026 if trends continue. Even global markets, once a safety net, are showing signs of retreat. Burger King's parent company, Restaurant Brands International, is reportedly diverting focus and marketing resources toward Popeyes and Firehouse Subs, leaving the King to fend for himself. Prediction: expect Burger King menu prices to rise another 10 to 12% by early 2026, driven by commodity inflation and declining franchise participation. Action cue: if your city still has a local Burger King, it may not for long. Grab that Whopper combo while you can, because soon, the only thing left of the King might be a faded sign and a "for lease" notice. And if you think the fall of the King is shocking, just wait, because the next giant isn't just losing customers, it's running out of ingredients. Number 2. Taco Bell's fading bell, 420 words. Taco Bell once felt untouchable, a chaotic, crunchy symbol of late-night freedom and $1 indulgence. But that golden era is slipping away, and fast. Restaurant Business Online, November 2025. Data revealed that Taco Bell's same-store growth has collapsed to a mere 1%, down from the double-digit surges that defined its success throughout the 2010s. The reason? Inflation has finally caught up with the bell, and it's ringing louder than ever. Avocado prices have jumped 37% in the past year, crippling their guacamole-based menu staples. Add to that intermittent shortages of beef and tortillas, basic lifelines for the chain, and you got a recipe for financial disaster. A veteran franchise owner told QSR Daily, This is the worst operating environment for Taco Bell in 2 decades. Between supply issues, labor shortages, and razor-thin margins, some stores are barely hanging on. Even the marketing magic that made Taco Bell a Gen Z cult favorite is faltering. Dollar menus and $5 cravings boxes that once packed dining rooms are now unprofitable, with inflation devouring the very concept of value. Labor costs rising 12% annually have forced operators to hike prices. But when a cheap taco run starts costing 15ers, even loyal fans start looking elsewhere. The brand tried to pivot. Remember their breakfast push, eco-friendly packaging, and plant-based experiments? None have managed to reignite the spark. Meanwhile, Chipotle and Qdoba have quietly stolen the Bell's thunder, offering fresher ingredients, transparent sourcing, and healthier options that appeal to younger, more conscious consumers. J.P. Morgan's 2025 food service forecast paints an even bleaker picture, warning that Taco Bell could shutter up to 400 locations by 2026 if cost pressures persist. Franchisees, drowning in debt, are cutting corners just to stay open, a strategy that risks alienating the few loyal customers left. Prediction: expect Taco Bell menu prices to rise another 5 to 8% by late 2025, with key items like guacamole, chicken, and tortillas facing periodic shortages. Action cue: if Taco Bell's cheap eats have been your safety net during tough times, it's time to rethink that plan. Stock up on essentials and start budgeting now. Because when the bell goes silent, you'll feel it in your wallet first. And if that doesn't shake you, the next chapter might. Because the biggest fast food empire on earth is discovering that robots can save it from collapse. Number 3. McDonald's. When automation backfires. For decades, McDonald's has been the unshakable symbol of global fast food, a golden empire that seemed immune to market chaos. But 2025 has exposed cracks even the golden arches can't hide. Behind the slick AI kiosks and robotic fryers, a quiet financial storm is brewing. According to Business Insider's November 2025 report, McDonald's multi-billion-dollar automation overhaul, designed to slash labor costs, is now draining profits faster than it saves them. Each fully automated location costs between $650,000 and $1.2 million to retrofit, with ongoing software licensing and maintenance fees exceeding $12,000 a month per store. For many franchise owners, those costs have turned what was meant to be a financial upgrade into a long-term liability. As one operator told Franchise Times, "Corporate sold us a dream of efficiency. Instead, we got robots that break down and customers who miss the human touch." But it's not just money that's being lost. It's trust. Viral videos on TikTok and X show customers waiting minutes for robotic arms to fix malfunctioning fryers or kiosks that double charge. The public backlash has been swift. Brand Trust Analytics reports McDonald's favorability rating has dropped 14 points since 2023, its steepest decline in 2 decades. Even McDonald's massive real estate empire is becoming an anchor instead of an asset. Property taxes are up 9%, commercial leases have surged 11%, and inflation is driving wages and utilities higher each quarter. Franchisees say corporate headquarters refuses to ease franchise terms, leaving many underwater. Forbes Retail Forecast 2025 warns that 1 in 8 McDonald's franchises could close by the end of 2026 if inflation persists at current levels. Even the menu, once a fortress of affordability, is collapsing under cost pressure. The iconic one cheeseburger now averages $2.89 in most major cities, and combo meals have breached $10 to $12. Prediction: McDonald's menu prices will likely rise another 10 to 15% in 2025, pushing the average family meal above $40 by next year. Action cue: if you've noticed your local McDonald's going half empty, it's not just you. The fast in fast food is disappearing, and so might your neighborhood McDonald's before 2026. And if even the world's biggest burger brand is buckling, the next chapter will hit even harder, because the Colonel himself is running out of chicken. Number 4. KFC. The Colonel's Crisis. 430 words. For generations, KFC has been synonymous with crispy comfort. But in 2025, that crunch is cracking. The Colonel's empire is in trouble, and this time, it's not about marketing or taste, it's about survival. The twin blows of avian flu outbreaks and global grain shortages have sent poultry prices soaring, and the world's favorite fried chicken chain is feeling the heat. According to QSR Research, November 2025, feed costs for poultry producers are up 48% year over year, and the average wholesale chicken price has jumped 32% in just 6 months. Add to that new import tariffs on grains from South America, and KFC's supply chain is buckling under pressure. In many metro areas, a standard 12-piece family bucket now exceeds $35, a price point unthinkable just 3 years ago. Customers are noticing and leaving. Complaints about quality inconsistency and smaller portions are rising. Longtime fans say the signature flavor has dulled. "It doesn't taste like the old KFC anymore," says a former manager quoted by Restaurant Dive. "We've been forced to rush fry times and cut corners because of higher oil prices and staff shortages. Even KFC's attempt to stay trendy has backfired." Its 2023 launch of Beyond Fried Chicken, a meatless experiment meant to attract new customers, fizzled fast. The chain's focus on sustainability and health messaging alienated traditionalists without winning over plant-based eaters. Meanwhile, competitors are eating their lunch. Chick-fil-A and Popeyes now dominate the U.S. fried chicken market, while KFC-8's share has collapsed from 23% in 2020 to 15% in 2025, its lowest in history. International markets, once the company's saving grace, are faltering too. Growth in China, which once accounted for 30% of KFC's revenue, has cooled dramatically as local chains like Dicos and Wallace offer cheaper, spicier, and more localized menus. Franchisees worldwide are now burdened by mandatory remodels that cost upwards of $500,000 each, driving many into insolvency. Prediction: analysts from Morgan Stanley's Food Service Index estimate KFC could close 1,000 global outlets by mid-2026 if cost structures aren't rebalanced soon. Action cue: expect nationwide chicken shortages and steeper prices by late 2025, especially as feed inflation continues and smaller suppliers collapse. If you love KFC's crispy nostalgia, enjoy it now, because soon, the only... Number 5. Wendy's, when fresh isn't enough. Wendy's built its reputation on a single promise: fresh, never frozen. But in 2025, that slogan has turned into an expensive curse. What was once a clever differentiator is now draining the company's lifeblood as inflation pushes the cost of fresh beef and produce through the roof. According to Bloomberg's 2025 Q1 Fast Food Index, Wendy's franchisees are now operating at net margins of just 2 to 3%, down from a healthy 10 to 12% average in the mid-2010s. The problem is simple but devastating. Beef prices have surged nearly 19% since 2023, driven by feed shortages, droughts, and higher transport costs. Wendy's commitment to never freezing its patties means it can buy in bulk or cut corners like its competitors. A franchise owner told Nation's Restaurant News, "We're paying premium prices for fresh product that customers no longer want to pay premium prices for." And then there's corporate mismanagement. Wendy's has poured tens of millions into digital soda fountains, new signage, and menu screen upgrades, while dining rooms sit half-empty. Its 2020's breakfast expansion briefly boosted sales, but according to a Restaurant Dive 2025 analysis, labor and ingredient costs wiped out any long-term gain. "We've got breakfast cooks making sandwiches for 5 people an hour," said one franchisee. "It's like running a restaurant for ghosts." Drive-thru traffic, the backbone of Wendy's revenue, is down 11% nationwide, while suburban locations are closing at their fastest rate in a decade. Meanwhile, the brand's cheeky online persona, famous for Twitter roasts and viral memes, no longer translates into sales. A Deloitte Consumer Trends report, 2025, found that 71% of Gen Z fast food buyers prefer local or small chain alternatives, citing authenticity and sustainability concerns. Wendy's sharp humor is losing its edge in a market that values transparency over sass. Prediction: analysts forecast that by the end of 2026, Wendy's could shutter 15–20% of its U.S. stores unless it reverts to simpler operations and renegotiates supply contracts. Action Q: expect price hikes of 6–9% on core menu items by late 2025, and say goodbye to complex limited-time offerings like the Ghost Pepper Chicken Ranch or Pretzel Bacon Pub. The redhead smile may still beam from billboards, but behind the grin lies a company on life support. And if Wendy's witty charm can't survive the economy, what chance does the strangest fast food chain of them all have? The next one isn't just losing customers, it's losing its identity. Number 6. Jack in the Box. Out of tricks. For decades, Jack in the Box carved its niche by being weird. Tacos at 2 a.m., burgers and breakfast in the same bag, commercials that mocked the industry itself. But in 2025, that quirky identity is no longer saving it. Behind the clown-faced mascot, the numbers tell a tragic story. Nation's Restaurant News, Decade 2024, revealed that Jack in the Box's net revenues fell 7% year-over-year, continuing a brutal downward slide fueled by high operating costs and an exhausted consumer base. It's a perfect storm of bad geography and bad timing. The chain's core market, western states like California, Nevada, and Washington, now face the highest minimum wages and commercial rents in the nation. Labor costs have climbed 15% in 3 years, while energy bills and lease renewals have cut directly into franchise profitability. For small operators, the math no longer works. Corporate's much-hyped pivot to digital ordering was supposed to modernize the brand, but instead, it's become a running joke online. Their mobile app, rolled out nationwide in 2024, was flooded with one-star reviews. Customers complained of glitches, missing orders, and broken coupons. On social media, Jack app fail became a meme, a disaster for a company already fighting for relevance. Even worse, Jack in the Box is suffering from what analysts call an identity collapse. Is it a burger chain? A taco joint? A breakfast spot? The menu's confusion mirrors the company's directionless leadership. "They're trying to be everything to everyone," said one former regional manager quoted in Restaurant Business Weekly, "and that means they're nothing to anyone." Consumer loyalty has evaporated. Younger diners now flock to newer, trendier, fast casual spots like Habit Burger or Smash Burger, both of which offer better quality at similar prices. Meanwhile, health-conscious customers are avoiding Jack's greasy image altogether. The chain's once profitable munchie meal strategy, catering to late-night impulse buyers, has faltered as inflation and safety concerns keep people home. Prediction: industry forecasts estimate Jack in the Box could lose 20–25% of its locations by 2026, particularly across the West Coast where rent and labor inflation are highest. Action Q: expect shrinking hours, smaller menus, and disappearing local outlets by early 2026. If Jack's neon head is still glowing in your neighborhood, consider it a countdown clock. Because when a brand built on chaos can't even define itself, collapse isn't just possible. It's inevitable. And if you think that's bad, the next chain's downfall proves that even having all the meats isn't enough when America's appetite and economy starts to shrink. Number 7. Arby's, we had the meats. For years, Arby's proudly shouted, "We have the meats." But in 2025, that slogan might need an update. We had the meats. Once the confident outsider of the fast food world, Arby's has found itself crushed between changing tastes, rising costs, and corporate neglect. Bloomberg's 2025 food service analysis paints a dire picture. Arby's average menu prices are up 19% since 2023, largely due to skyrocketing beef costs and premium ingredient sourcing. What was once a unique niche, warm roast beef sandwiches, has turned into an expensive liability. According to Inspire Brands' leaked 2024 financial report, over 100 Arby's locations closed in just 6 months, making it one of the company's weakest-performing divisions. The reasons run deep. Roast beef, turkey, and brisket, Arby's bread and butter, are some of the most volatile commodities in today's market. Feed costs, drought-driven shortages, and logistics issues have squeezed margins to the breaking point. Every sandwich we sell feels like a gamble, one franchisee told QSR magazine. We're either losing on price or losing on volume. Then there's perception. Arby's hasn't kept pace with changing consumer habits. Younger audiences don't want heavy, high-calorie sandwiches. They want clean-label ingredients and visible sourcing. Arby's attempt to join the trend with limited salads and sliders fell flat. They're selling the same food they sold in 1995, says restaurant analyst Jeffrey Dunn of Food Economy Insights. But it's 2025, and people want transparency, freshness, and flexibility. The parent company, Inspire Brands, which also owns Dunkin' and Buffalo Wild Wings, has quietly shifted focus toward those higher-margin chains, leaving Arby's underfunded and overextended. The result? Shrinking marketing, reduced innovation, and a menu that feels trapped in time. Prediction. Analysts project Arby's will close 15–20% of its locations by mid-2026, focusing only on high-traffic urban and highway corridors. Action cue, expect disappearing. Arby's in small towns first, followed by suburban exits. If roast beef sandwiches are your nostalgic go-to, enjoy them while you can. Because the next time you pass an empty lot where an Arby's used to stand, you'll know the slogan died true. They had the meats. And as one meat empire crumbles, the next chapter proves that even the world's most famous coffee house can stay awake forever. Number 8. Starbucks, the sleeping giant. It's the brand that turned coffee into culture, a symbol of routine, connection, and calm in chaotic times. But in 2025, Starbucks is anything but calm. The once invincible coffee giant is stumbling hard, as inflation, labor revolts, and shifting consumer values collide in a storm few saw coming. According to Reuters' Global Retail Report, April 2025, Starbucks profits dropped 14% year-over-year, marking its steepest decline in 2 decades. While it still operates over 35,000 locations worldwide, that massive footprint has become a financial burden rather than a strength. Real estate costs have ballooned, wages have soared, and supply chain instability, from milk to coffee beans, has driven margins into freefall. The real problem, though, isn't coffee. It's culture. Starbucks' carefully crafted image as an ethical, feel-good brand is being torn apart by nationwide unionization fights and employee walkouts. Between 2022 and 2024, more than 400 stores unionized, triggering lawsuits, strikes, and boycotts that have eroded trust with both workers and customers. Social media has amplified the chaos. Viral TikToks show workers overwhelmed by mobile orders or calling out poor management. Once the face of cafe luxury, Starbucks is now being mocked as corporate burnout in a cup. And consumers are noticing. As prices climb, with the average latte hitting $7.29 in major cities, customers are defecting to independent coffee shops and regional competitors that offer artisanal drinks for less. Starbucks isn't special anymore, says food analyst Lydia Grant of Market Pulse Research. It's a lifestyle brand that lost its lifestyle. Even Starbucks' pivot to reserve luxury locations is backfiring. High-end stores in major metros are hemorrhaging cash as remote work keeps foot traffic low. The company quietly closed more U.S. stores than it opened in 2024, a first in nearly 20 years, and the Wall Street Journal predicts another 5 to 8% contraction by late 2025. Prediction: expect Starbucks to raise beverage prices another 10% by early 2026, while shuttering hundreds of underperforming suburban cafes to preserve profitability. Action cue: the coffee crisis is real, and even giants can fall asleep at the wheel. That $8 macchiato may soon be a luxury item, not a daily ritual. So if you still rely on Starbucks for comfort, start brewing your own resilience now. Because comfort chains can collapse faster than caffeine kicks in. And there you have it. 8 fast food giants on the edge of extinction. From burgers to burritos, from roast beef to cappuccinos, no brand is safe in 2025's brutal economy. Behind every "now hiring" sign lies a deeper story. Shrinking profits, rising prices, and a public that's finally lost its appetite for overhyped corporate food. So the next time you crave that combo meal or morning latte, look closer, because the neon may still glow today, but tomorrow it could be dark for good.